Hi guys, what's up? And I want to talk. Okay, Hässlein Superpläne for das. So, hi guys, what's up? And in this video, I want to talk about something. I hope this might help you. Quick tool to remember on your journey to God, your true self, avatar self, divine spirit, whatever you want to call it. I don't care where you're coming from, if you're religious, spiritual, new age, starseed, alien, whatever, what you're searching for. Because I, I just remember, like Dr. Hawking said, all paths lead to God, as you see when you calibrate at the level of peace, even beyond. But that's what I want to talk about, because the higher you go, the more you observe within your consciousness and get behind all these wells. And yeah, you might even say basically walls we've built, or at least here, or at least in this grandiose illusion we partook on some level. It's basically pushing, from one perspective, pushing a thought further down, pushing it away, has many factors. Karmic influence, positionalities, things you ought to overcome. You came to your brave area, especially those in very, I want to say, tight situations, very brave areas. There are many levels to this, but then the truth is divine, so the closer you get to truth, the more you see it everywhere, and the calling of it everywhere, and the perfect placement from one perspective, but also that which is not or serving the opposite, or trying to cling upon the opposite, thinking that's the way out. But then this is still only partaking in a dark spot. The collective fucking needs to look at. As I see it, the collective needs to stand up, especially with the cruelest of, if this is even a word, of crimes. The collective needs to stand up. Okay, the collective needs to stand up. That's why we're all here. We all do our work. That's the ultimate thing we have to realize as well, as we are on a path. Because ultimately, our true self, our true spirit, wants to serve God, and for the highest good of all, from that perspective. Of course, on some level, you're giving free will, but that's just some perspective, some angle. Now, this quick tool I want to give you, already talking about the past. Because the more you get closer to, your true self, God, the prime creator, divinity, you see how it's all related, and that actually all mistruth or falsehood has to burn off in, you might say, in his light, where you're perfectly connected to the self, to your true self, true highest self, because it all was an illusion. Now, of course, there are many factors and pulls and gravities or weights which pull down, depending on how far a collective went down a rabbit hole, or left open this dark spot, or went too deep or stubborn with it, because, as they say, ignorance is bliss. It's not really, but it's temporary to you if you deny yourself, or deny certain things at a certain stage. for one basically to survive. What is basically all under 12 years I see it. But this is even deeper. I might do another video. I just want to give you a quick tool now. So if you stay tuned, I'll make another video, okay? It's very interesting too. Or maybe let's see if I put it in here. I already put it a bit, or make a whole other video. Nonetheless, so then just watch the next video. So I wrote down God, Yeshua, and conscience. Now I don't like to throw like in the new age, you know, and I don't wanna push further down this judgment, but I don't like to forward personally certain names around too much, because first and foremost it's their real name. Second, because there's an energy connect to it, then you push an idea of someone outside, and then you if it's not the energy or being you want to connect to, let's say it, and you push out an outside enemy, then you're giving more attention, focus, and from one perspective energy or consciousness to that energy, or although you didn't want to in the first place, but then it's a mind game and you can get caught up in that. And I said energy because, and truth, it's all obviously from within. That's why you see everything behind the closer you get to the truth, right? You see it. Oh, now I see it. Now I see everything. Everything's clear now. And yeah, and another point is I just think we throw around these names too much. Of course, it's all on an evolutionary scale, but where there, and some people call this out, and it's good, because some people then because you can get caught up too much, then I need this and I need that, and you know, I need that energy to you know what I mean. Yeah, like you need, some say you still need something from the outside, and I get this because people want to relate, especially in the spiritual, because these spiritual teachers mostly already established, at least the persons now. You can see this neutral. Some say there are some bad. That's why I want to keep it neutral here, but that's why I said beware what energy you are connecting to, and then the more, you know, it's a tricky mind game, because then people don't get that there are many different layers where you can get your give your focus to that, but in the end, if you are on the path of God and connect to your true self, and the more you let go, the more you see that there the true power lies, because you get behind the thought, behind the original thought, where people then got in the after effect too much caught up upon and cling too much on it if they just wouldn't let it go. Basically the whole disbelief story, and this is the 12th video wherein people strengthen the disbelief rather than the belief, and then they strengthen the so-called enemies who just were pushing that further because they couldn't conceive behind that. So now I already spilled the whole tea. Not the whole tea, is much deeper, but it's the basics of it. Let's see if I still do this video. Yeah, and the whole with conscience, right? When you these are two things. Conscience. Now, if something, and then I get to Yeshua, because I don't want to throw this name, just the one. But the same with God. Nevertheless, first and foremost, conscience. When something pops up, like for example, and then this guilt, some guilt or shame feelings, for example, or other feelings, you might not been responsible for where this energy comes from, because you might have a traumatic experience, or it wasn't even yours, But if you, for example, if you have an addiction, someone, if you have alcohol addiction or drug addiction, for example, or also with sex and pornography and all of that, trauma is not, you're not responsible for that, but the conscience is speaking that this might not be the true path of God, or God originally had intended for you in His way of infinite mercy, or you might call it the divine, okay, your true self, highest self. You not necessarily wouldn't have to do it, and that's your conscience speaking, but because you might cling to a drug addiction or alcohol addiction at a point, it might help you to survive, because we're dealing or dealt with a large sum of collective BS. So, but it's the whole thing. From one perspective, it was already God the divine speaking to you, right? Shouldn't have judged yourself in the first place. But it's a tricky thing, because we're dealing with with these collective energies, thoughts, and positionalities. Another video too. So why I put God and Yeshua in that is because the same, when you look at those or connected those, and also with the Father, actually the divine Father figure originally, that's why many hold also resentment towards the Father, as they say, because it's the burn up of all mistruth, falsehood, of how you relate to that, the idea to the spirit and or the masculine aspect, the original, the divine, the Father aspect. I know God. Many like to pinpoint also obviously the divine feminine, because there's both. So, but you know what I mean, and it's total ownership connected to that, basically, and that's if you like, some people think it's all love and light and want to sub-go this, and Yeshua was just, but I don't mean in a way he was just, you know what I mean, he was just, and then they say something else. Yeah, he was just, but not just this and that, because you're not just this and that either, and he did something, I don't want to say it in a fake manner, but something very remarkable, obviously, and it's not just this, I think there's a deeper truth to it if you really realize what he did. Now obviously, then this was just as opposing the whole notion where people were giving their power away to some outside figure, so to speak, where people didn't really realize, Christianity, religion. But that's where we have to realize what prayer originally is intended to, and what the whole male archetype, so to speak, the divine place, of that is, and of the Father, because it's like a spirit. You recognize yourself, in spirit. You face to face, which can only strengthen you if you let it, or you get too much caught up on what's burning up, the falsehood, because you felt misguided. But it's not you, it's actually to look at it for you and to strengthen your spirit, and better understand it, and come to a greater strength, so to speak. And that's where this falsehood is burning up, and it was basically the whole thing I want to tell you, I don't know how to better explain it. Like you really, it's basically the resentment towards the father burning up, all of your own masculine, you know, and but then coming to greater understanding, greater strength through that. So yeah, I hope this might help you. Hope you understood it, and thanks.